Hyperscape is at its strongest when you're in the midst of its frantic battles that encourage you to fight not only efficiently, but quickly. The game's vertically influenced environment and quick loot management all contribute to fast and fun fights, but Hyperscape is also held back by that same environment and collection of weapons and hacks. It all combines into a battle royale game that has great moments, but ultimately feels like it relies too much on randomness to lead to satisfying victories. If you've ever played a battle royale game before, then the goal of Hyperscape is an old song and dance by this point. Players begin each match by dropping onto a battlefield with nothing to their name, forced to survive by any means necessary. As the match progresses, the battlefield shrinks, increasing the likelihood of firefights breaking out amongst the survivors. Hyperscape breaks from the traditional battle royale formula in how you win. You can either be the last one standing, or claim the crown that spawns at the end of each match and hold on to it for 45 seconds without dying. Hyperscape has a variety of weapons, each of which is diverse enough to offer different playstyles. There's nothing wildly different about any of them in comparison to most sci-fi shooters, but there's at least some good sound design behind Hyperscape's weapons. You can identify what's being shot at you via the noise that each gun makes. However, though the in-match meta is fairly balanced, some guns are just better. A lot of fights take place in enclosed spaces, lending greater utility to certain firearms, like the Mammoth MK1 shotgun and Hexfire LMG. Pretty much the exact same thing can be said about Hyperscape's hacks, the game's version of hero abilities. As opposed to attaching specific abilities to certain characters, Hyperscape has different abilities that you can pick up and equip. You can only hold 2 at a time, and since each hack can accomplish different tasks, you can curate very different builds based on what you pick up. But like weapons, there are some hacks that just seem ideal for success. The most important use of a hack is to run from a fight you can't handle with your guns alone, which emphasizes the ones geared towards traversal or escape. This leads to a bit of stagnation in Hyperscape's in-match meta. You can win with any combination of weapons and hacks, but there's definitely a path that has a higher chance of success. And in something like a battle royale, where loot is random, this can occasionally lead to matches where the odds are stacked against you from the beginning, if no one in your squad managed to find the weapons and hacks that can lead to an ideal loadout. Of course, how you move is just as important as what weapons and hacks you have equipped, and there's something to be said about actual skill when it comes to first-person shooters. It's also worth pointing out that most of the guns feel balanced in their respective damage output and fire rate. None of them feel too overpowered. But since so much of Hyperscape's battles take place inside multi-story buildings, it lowers the usefulness of long-range scoped weapons like the Protocol 5 and Dragonfly. Whereas most battle royale games have horizontally built maps, Hyperscape takes place on the vertically focused Neo Arcadia. Most buildings are at least 3 stories, and stairways and jump pads ensure you almost always have a means of accessing their rooftops. Many battles in Hyperscape quickly transition between the ground, the tops of buildings, and midair. You have to be just as aware of an attack coming from above or below you as you do from the front or the back. Hyperscape definitely leans towards a faster pace, a speed that's certainly encouraged via its mechanics. Diving into a crouch from a sprint will fling you forward in an aggressive slide, and a double jump and ledge grab allows you to more easily maneuver around the map in comparison to most battle royales. Sprinting, sliding, climbing, and using navigation-based hacks to parkour around the map is joyful fun. There's a real sense of momentum to your movements as you catapult yourself through the air and over or around obstacles. I think I've gotten a bigger adrenaline rush from expertly pulling off several impressive movements in quick succession to escape a battle than I have winning one. When it comes to navigating the immediate area, Hyperscape does a lot to make you feel like a superhuman parkour expert. However, it's difficult to know where you're going once you've finished up a fight or looted all the buildings around you. Outside of the major landmarks, most of the buildings and locations in Neo Arcadia all look exactly the same. Granted, this makes it easy to spot enemies, as they're highlighted with a red outline when you aim at them that really stands out. So the map design helps in that regard, but it's all too much of the same to aid in exploration and navigation. This is a huge problem with how zone closure works in Hyperscape. Instead of the closing ring seen in most battle royale games, in Hyperscape, individual zones slowly delete themselves over time.
A sector has collapsed.
It's a cool looking effect to an intriguing take on battle royale's ring closure, but it ultimately makes everything in the environment look even more similar, making it incredibly difficult to get your bearings while you're trying to reach a safe zone. An arrow at least points in the direction of the nearest safe zone, but a straight path to safety is not always the best one. Thankfully, even though you'll be frequently stopping to look at your map in Hyperscape, you won't have to do the same for loot. Hyperscape forgoes an attachment-based system when it comes to improving your arsenal for a system that's far simpler. Say you find and equip a weapon. Finding and picking up the same weapon will improve the stats of the one you're currently holding. This system applies to your hacks too, allowing you to lower the cooldown and increase the offensive potential of your special abilities by discovering copies of the ones you already have equipped. This ensures matches remain fast. You're not stopping to root through your inventory because there's nothing to manage. Hyperscape has a rather nifty revive mechanic too. It might be my favorite version I've seen in a battle royale yet. When you die in Hyperscape, your digital echo falls out of your corpse. In this form, you're limited to only being able to move and ping, but enemies can't see you. If your living squad mates manage to kill an enemy player, they can interact with the corpse to bring you back to life. This gives dead players something to do. You can scout ahead for your living squad mates and actively contribute to ensuring your team wins its next fight so that you can be revived. With the start of Season 1, the first principle, Hyperscape gets a battle pass, daily and weekly challenges, and tons of new rewards to unlock. Exactly what a game like Hyperscape needs. With only one map for its two permanent modes, solo and squads, there's just not enough there to keep playing the game every day without an additional incentive. I'm not a huge fan of Hyperscape's Battle Pass though. It's got a free track and paid one, which normally would be fine, except that nearly half of the items on the free track can't be accessed unless you have Prime Gaming, which requires paying for Amazon Prime. So both tracks require cash to complete. The Battle Pass highlights that you're missing items if you don't have Prime Gaming too, which feels a little predatory. The new characters are really the only reward worth pursuing, as they do have some impact on your personal experience, albeit one that is pretty insignificant. None of the characters change the gameplay, but each sounds off with unique one-liners. There's no real backstory or reason to like any of the characters though. Their backstories are shallow, and Hyperscape's story doesn't do much to flesh them out. So even though you can buy more characters in the in-game store, I'm not eager to spend real-world money to meet more of them. Without a doubt, the best new additions with Season 1 are the new weapon and hack. Between the two, I like the new magnet hack more. It has a welcome method of controlling distance between you and an enemy, and also opens up new ways for you to use Neo Arcadia's environment to your advantage. The new Dragonfly assault rifle isn't as impactful. I don't have any issues with it though. It's a well-balanced gun that doesn't negatively impact the in-match meta in any significant way. Hyperscape is an okay battle royale game. It has solid weapons and hero-like hack abilities, but you're at the mercy of being lucky enough to get what you need to have a higher chance of winning. The battleground doesn't help in this regard, since it's difficult to know where you're going and make a plan about where to loot next without stopping to open the map. At least the individual moments in Hyperscape are fun. A match could be ruined by the randomness working against you, but that doesn't stop the little moments from being any less fun and how ridiculously silly they are.
Not good. Not good.